지금 코로나 바이러스 때문에 굉장히 어수선하잖아요.
첫 번째로는 마스크를 무조건 착용하는 게 좋다고 생각하고요.
확실히 안 나가니까 그런 게 예방이 되는 것 같아요.
공공장소를 되도록이면 피해 주시고
친구들이랑 같이 그 온라인 게임을 이제 같이 하면은 시간도 빨리 가고.
전 집에서 롤 조심해야지 다음번에 좋게 만날 수 있기 때문에
괜찮아질 때까지 GSL이랑 서투 리그 계속 사랑해 주시기 바랍니다.
라운드 오브 24 TY 전태양 바머 최지성 아르마니 박진현 디어 백동준 아프리카 TV 브레이크업 스튜디오 라이브 2020 GSL 시즌 코드 S 쇼다운.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to go on to our second best of three. We just saw TY smash Bomber, although Bomber does appear to be in very good shape. And I'm curious to see how he's going to perform in the losers match. But now is our ZVP Armani versus Deer.
Yeah, I think that this has potential to be a very, very good match. Deer is always highly respected by everyone, whereas Armani is kind of, I wouldn't call him like highly respected, but everyone knows he's pretty good, and he's been getting better. I feel like he's Ragnarok -2.
Okay.
Right?
He's Ragnarok without all the armor and weapon upgrades.
Something like that. It's like he's up and coming like Ragnarok. He's getting stronger in all ways like Ragnarok. But he's not as good as Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Ragnarok is a Ravager and
-2.
he is the Roach.
He's Ragnarok with like you know, Cheeto dust on him.
Okay. Now Deer, one of the only Royal Roaders in GSL history. In other words, he was one of the only players to ever show up in his first GSL and then win the entire thing. But he's had some real ups and downs in his StarCraft 2 career. He's had periods where he's been literally unstoppable and, of course, won the entire tournament. And then he's had periods where he just is not performing up to par with the other players, even in a GSL group.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard, especially with this long downtime that we had. I know we had Super Tournament, but we're getting back into the rhythm of things still here in Korea. It's hard to say really where Deer is at until we see him play that given day. Even in a tournament, sometimes he'll play amazingly in one round and then poorly in the next.
Yeah.
At times a very inconsistent player, so expect anything. Armani, still, I would say one of the rookies here of the GSL by comparison of these other players. Let's see how game one goes on Everdream.
전투 준비 완료. 퍼포먼스로 앞서가다 LG 울트라 기어와 넘버원 에너지 드링크 핫식스가 이번 전투를 지원한다고. 아프리카 프릭스 아르마니 박진현 카이지 게임 디어 백동준.
You know, you said Armani, one of the more rookie players in GSL.
By comparison.
Well, the thing is, he is the most rookie player in GSL. He's actually, out of all the players in the tournament, he's been in the least GSLs.
Sure.
This is his 5th or 6th GSL overall, which that's actually still kind of a big number when you think about it.
It's a lot of GSL still, but
the amount of players in GSL that have been double-digit GSLs is huge.
yeah, well, this is what happens when the show has been on for 10 years. But this is also why, the best esports, they have history. I know there's always new
Wait. What about games that are new? Those are the best esports, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right. I was wrong. It's the games that have been out for 5 months, and then we start talking about players being legends.
Yeah, well,
and everybody doesn't care about the game a year and a half later. And everybody says the game's dead, and then they go on to the next new thing.
Well, first off, if my favorite professional gamer, Ninja, is not streaming a game, it is dead. Second off, I visit a website called
Like you say that, but he's on Mixer now, so.
Twitter.com. And on Twitter.com, from what I understand, only a few new games are good. And then also when people from other games mention StarCraft, they get 1,000 favorites because we're like, wow, look at you, you're just wow, you mentioned it.
These are the people that
I just want to kick people into a
more than
volcano
partake
all the
of-
time.
Yes, me too.
Oh,
No,
by the way, shout out to StarCraft. I'm like, you haven't watched any StarCraft. Shut up. You don't watch any of it.
Now, no, but if you let's take a moment here and point out like all the esports that are old that are still moving through here: StarCraft 1 and 2, Counter-Strike in its various iterations, Street Fighter, Super Smash Brothers Melee. These are all the esports that have the real long history. And other games are, you know, I mean, we'll see what games stand the test of time, right? But I mean, when a game's been around for a decade, you actually have a lot to pick from.
Yeah.
And it's even the newer games that come out, and I'm not anti-new game. Eventually there's going to be another amazing game that comes out that will then last 10 years, okay? But it is worth pointing out that even the newer games have to try to reach back into the players that were playing some other previous esport to even get in history.
Yeah.
Well, this guy came from this game where he was dominant there for
that can
7 months.
That can be very exciting.
Sure.
It's a little bit less exciting if you actually know the game that they came from and the game that they're going to.
Yeah. Well,
because then you can just be like, okay, everyone's talking like this is going to be a big deal. It's not.
yeah, well, a lot of times.
Warcraft 3 versus StarCraft. Wow, this is going to be good. It's like,
Who
no,
will
guys,
come out on
the
top? Like,
StarCraft
no,
players will be better
the
no matter
StarCraft
what.
1 players will definitely catch on to StarCraft 2 a little bit more quickly.
Oh, my God.
And if we have a game with heroes, I'll tell you something. Call it a crazy hunch. I think the Warcraft 3 players will probably have a special in. Oh, no, here's Artos' bias coming. He's like,
No, it's not.
actually tasteless.
When your scene only has 16 pro gamers tasteless, it's pretty hard to say you have a bigger depth than something like StarCraft. But those Lings just got in. That was like very sloppy placement. Got a full scout off. Yeah. So definitely a bit of a mistake there. We have Glaives into DT. This is obviously a popular build at the moment.
Yeah.
But Armani's going to have a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Now let's see how Armani actually handles the first few attacks here. The the Adepts are warping him, and they're going to be moving forward now. This should be manageable unless Zerg was too greedy, but we have Roaches and Lings coming out. Now we also want to watch for where the next shade goes, because occasionally, okay, so he cannot do this. He has to back off. Lings and Roaches were there ready to meet him.
Yeah, I don't really expect him to fully commit anywhere. Like, I think you're just going to pressure here for the most part, unless you randomly get a really good shade where they don't chase it, which is, like, never going to happen. And by keeping this pressure on, it might allow your DTs to get some damage done, right? Because they're focusing so heavily on this.
Okay, again, these cannot shade forward anymore. Now, one thing about Adepts is that they don't really scale well in the late game. It's fine to get them early, but a lot of times you want them to start to pay for themselves. But let's see if the DT's coming out. This DT rush is also very common at this point in time. And this is going to be a huge shutdown. The fact that he's going to get the surround, I don't know how many he'll kill before the Warp Prism could save it. So 2 get away. But usually when you do that DT rush, the objective, if it doesn't immediately kill a hatchery, is to turn them into Archons. So he only has 1 Archon available.
Yeah.
But in a twist here, the Adepts do come through here, and they do get some drone kills. Not an insane amount, but it's definitely something. And it doesn't seem like Armani's ready for the next shade too. And this is where things can start to add up, and the Adepts really can start to become incredibly effective. Let's see if there's anything to defend up here at 9 o'clock.
Well, it seemed like Armani's defense was really, really strong until after those DTs and the Adepts got in. And now suddenly we do have that damage starting to add up some. Queens going down, a bunch of drones are starting to fall as well.
Looks like he should be able to take out all the rest of these Adepts here. There is a Warp Prism with some DTs coming over here.
He flew all the way home with that.
Oh, did he? No, this is over in the bottom, right?
No, I know, but like that Prism came from the top right again or something. Like I'm confused. The Prism should have been... Or wait, no, I mean, he rallied it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's okay, Archos.
Okay.
The DT is now going to come in here into the main and take out some drones. And again, we already have 15 drone kills it seems like Deer, you know, initially Armani had a strong start, and then things started to add up, the pressure especially. And now these DTs have paid for themselves in dividends by coming in here and killing off workers and delaying everything. The Archon harass is not going to happen, at least not with the DTs that we saw initially. I don't know if he's going to warp in more now. I'm not sure where you want to take a game. Normally, it's the Adepts that are all killed off, and then the Archons start to do something. But this time around, the DTs got the worker kills instead of the Archons.
Well, the DTs have done fantastically.
Oh
the
my
Adepts
God,
definitely did their part too.
Okay, he's going to turn around with the Overseer. Good save there.
Yeah, this push, I'm a little bit afraid here for Armani. His drone count is very, very low. His supply count of army is terrible considering it's roaches. Oh yeah, 61 to 51 and your army is roaches?
Yeah.
It's not so good, man.
No, and with 4 Immortals coming out, this timing attack could be game-ending. It absolutely could be. I love the 1 DT coming in the group. I almost wonder if it'd be better to have the DT. I guess you can't really drop it into the main and then actually expect to try to pressure this too. You need the Warp Prism there to harass. Now there's a lot of Ravagers being made here, but I think this hatchery can actually maybe be picked off before this is even going to be salvageable. Yeah, he picks it off at the last second. The DT's going to run into the main. Deer with just beautiful play here, by the way. I mean,
he's put out a high-quality game right now. A lot of Vials coming down. They actually do hit, but a DT goes to the main base, so things might go very south for Armani right there.
With Armani holding the initial Adept attack, everything from there on out has just been Deer showing why he has been one of the best Protosses that we've ever had. I mean, this is such good play. The DT's now going to start killing drones, and we're going to see GG in a few seconds, I think, here.
Really superb play from Deer. You're definitely right about that. Like, just beautifully done. His micro has been on point. His multitasking has been quite good. And I mean, look at this. It's unstoppable damage.
This is
Armani has to GG.
This is a pretty demoralizing game here for Armani. Deer definitely going to be confident that he can probably 2-0 him here. And again, this shows the difference in ability as far as stage matches go. I think Armani is cognizant of those types of threats coming, but execution-wise, he's not able to keep up. I mean, he had the initial setup, right? But it's when the action really starts happening, it's when the game really begins to unravel, that an expert player can stabilize and start to defend that. But instead, the Adept started to outpace the position of the Roach Ravager, and at the same time, Deer was able to predict where the Overseers would not be, gets in there, and from there on out, I mean, that timing attack, especially with such inferior supply from the Zerg, really easy to come in there with a neck-breaking push.
Well, as soon as you get away from them with one set of shades, things can snowball, and that's what happened to Armani. But before that, Armani was defending very, very well. So if he can just pull that together a little bit better, I mean, it was not the most complicated move that Deer was doing. So I think it was just an oversight from Armani, just a simple mistake. So I'm still not counting him out. Even though Deer looked way superior, so much of it has to do with that one time he didn't chase down the shades.
Yeah, it's a real snowballing effect, right?
Yeah,
if he could go back and he could resume from replay and just stop that there.
Oh yeah,
we have
game looks different.
Yeah,
definitely looks different. Like Deer might still win, of course, because he's generally a better player.
Or we might still just be in that game at the bare minimum.
We would definitely still be in the game.
Nightshade, game number 2, Armani versus Deer starts now.
전투 준비 완료. 아프리카 프릭스, 아르마니, 박진영. 카이지 게임, 디어, 백동준.
Excited to see what Deer has prepped here. Of course, you still have to kind of play on the aggressive side as Protoss in this matchup at the moment.
Yeah, this is a matchup where a lot of current theory basically states that the Zerg, if given enough freedom, can become too much to handle for the Protoss. And so the game is a lot of times centered around, at least in this current meta of StarCraft, it's centered around trying to come in and take the Zerg out before the Zerg can get too strong, but it requires a lot of different types of attacks coming in here. We've seen in the past players play passively. I mean, this would be like Stats or when he was playing StarCraft 2 before he switched back Raid, right? The macro reactionary Protoss play. But nowadays it seems like if the Zerg is going to lose, it's via some type of piercing timing or a series of timings that come in and basically take the Zerg at the knees.
Yeah, you have to be a lot better than the Zerg player, I think, to win like just a regular kind of passive reactive game.
I think it's a lot better.
Yeah, or they have to basically be doing it all into you, because if they go regularly into the late game, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, that's worth pointing out. Yeah, I mean, if Zerg does some type of all-in, then you just have to hold it, and then there's a lot of different ways to play the game from there. But assuming the Zerg is actually, I think, playing in the most Zerg-esque way, which is to follow what you're doing and try to stay, 1 to 2 steps ahead of you and fend off what you're going to do, you're probably as a Zerg player going to win, because if you both go into late game, it does seem like Zerg functionally is superior.
Yeah, I think everyone pretty much agrees with that.
And this is actually
except for Zerg players who think that carrier is too strong.
It's also worth pointing out that there's actually been several matchups historically, even in StarCraft 1, that have operated this way. Where one race has to push the other in different times of the meta, where it's, this race has to close it before this race gets to there.
Well, someone has to be the beat down.
Someone has to be the aggressor, the other the defender. Yeah. Not always, but often.
That's how it goes. Actually, I don't think you saw this probably on StarCraft Reddit. Someone
I haven't been there in a while now.
Someone posted this thing where they went through a Ligulac, and basically in the last month, Protoss has had the worst performance ever.
I do know about this. I do know about this.
Oh, okay. So what did you think about that, actually? Because we're kind of talking about how Protoss has to end it early with these sharp timing attacks.
I think there's a lot to talk about with that. I mean, I think it's always worth looking at numbers like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're seeing the overall results. There's various factors you got to put in. For one, the meta, the way the game's being played. Another is, how do I say this? There's also, I think, historically there was a lot of memeing about Protoss in StarCraft 2, like OP, and this is the, you got Protoss, and I think culturally in StarCraft a lot of people were kind of referencing that, and look, I'm one of you guys, Protoss is so strong, when in reality, if you look at the way that Zerg can operate at times, it's very hard. Just from the tools that they have at their disposal to take on a top-tier play. I mean, there's a couple things to mention here. I mean, I think for me, when I look at it, and I'm not claiming imbalance here because I'm always open to metas changing and strategies being enhanced, but I think the fact that Zerg just have creep. Yeah. They have creep. I mean, that it gives you vision. We have the ability to speed up your units on that. You have overlords to top that off. Just real quick here, just to acknowledge what's happening. The oracles are going to come in here. This is designed to take out some drones to slow the Zerg down so that the Protoss can set up for an attack. And then I think you look at a lot of the late game units that Zerg have had, and the fact that there is, you can have everything moving at once and cast spells the way that you can in StarCraft 2. I think that all lends itself to Zerg.
Well said.
What would you say?
Well, I mean, normally when the patches come out and I see Protoss nerfs, I'm just like, wait, when does Protoss win tournaments? I've never seen it. But
I think this is because everybody has become so used to memeing and referencing Protoss as being OP that then you kind of end up in a situation where it's like, well,
I think people get frustrated when it feels like your opponent rolled their face across the keyboard and beat you, which I think that's something that people identify with Protoss somewhat.
Well, I think since the very origins of the game, there was cannon rushes and gateways and right outside your base. But I think for anybody who's really up to date with the game now, you got to look at it and say, okay, but at the point in time where everybody actually does know how to play the game, what are we really doing here? But yeah, I think it's I think these things that we're talking about now are fairly self-evident. But
well, that being said, we had a couple oracles hidden there. They didn't really get that much damage done, but they've flown back in a few times, so they've gotten a few drones. And now it's going to be a Nidus all in, it looks like, from Armani.
Yes. And I think this is a smart move. I think this might catch Deer off guard. This is a pretty cute location to put this, by the way. Is there an Overseer over here?
I do not believe that there is.
I'm
So I
trying
think
to
those
find one on the
DTs are going to
minimap here.
ruin his day.
Well, this is a lot of damage, though. If he can get an Overseer here in time. Oh my god, that surround on the Immortal is actually so good.
Yeah, it is. But then there's 4 DTs in here, so I think this is going to be held relatively easily, right?
I believe you're correct here.
Because the amount of damage 4 DTs are putting out is pretty immense. Look
Well,
at
the
that.
DTs are just going to chew their way through this, and as long as Protoss can keep the Nexus alive. Now, there's an Overseer coming here, but I mean, we're already seeing him. He can actually dive on the Nexus if he wants.
He can kill whatever he wants with this stuff. The Overseer is just about to hatch, but there's not that many units left over. I feel like
no,
one more warping round, and you basically held this.
Yeah.
Hell, the DTs are just going to go up and fight, I
It
guess.
just turns him into Archons. It's like, all right, whatever. Cover me.
Yeah, so that goes pretty well for Deer, I would say. Oh, is he going to lose those? Yeah.
So, now the Zerg's in hot water. This is not set up easily for a 4th base. I mean, of course, if you're going to do a Nidus move like that, you're actually intending to kill their 3rd or maybe end the game, right? Either way, you're doing a move like that because you're intending to come out on top. But now Protoss is on 3 bases. The tech that can dismantle the Zerg is inbound and continuing to come out. We had Immortals coming out, another Warp Prism being made, Archons as well. Where Zerg is making Ling Ravager. I'm not sure what Armani is supposed to do from here. I feel like it would be remiss to say you know, the Zerg should on paper be losing this game if everybody plays perfectly, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Deer
But-
is just like so far ahead in both army and workers, so this attack should kill Armani. It's not like he has Banelings or something to stop these Zealots.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to come across the map now. And we have something happen in the middle of the map. I'm not sure what it is, but some counterattack happened there.
I think it's just some Lings running around trying to catch
Trying to
units.
snipe something.
Yeah.
Okay, the Archons are actually still pretty far out from this push, but when they manage to merge up with the rest of these units, I think we're going to see this next attack come in here. He's going to try to move that Warp Prism out of the way. Good dodge.
Yeah, brings his Archons with him up the hill. Here we go. The Zealots being spread out. A lot of Roaches and a few Ravagers in here. I cannot imagine Armani holding on.
GG. Deer crushing Armani there. Hopefully that's not indicative of how Armani's going to look in the rest of these groups. A smile on Deer's face, but here's the good news. The losers match is going to be really interesting. Armani versus Bomber should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wonder if Bomber can put up a fight against Armani, because Armani's like much more modern, even though they both, like for instance,
Well,
have done
I'll tell you what, man.
their military duty. Armani's been out longer and looks a bit better, I think.
I'll tell you what, man. Bomber looked a lot better than Armani.
Do you think so?
Yes, I do, Artosis. Yes,
I
I do.
disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Those are your feelings. You can have that.
Yeah.
You can take that.
Look,
but
Armani did an all-in
you
and died to
think-
DTs.
You
And
think that Bomber in his game 2 against TY, because game 1, it's like, yeah, the Reaper Rush kills him. Okay. Game 2, I think Bomber looked like a better player than Armani did in the Deer games.
No.
We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, our third best of 3. Don't go away.